Have you ever been in a serious, intimate relationship with someone? Or, on the other hand, have you ever desired to be in one? Though these two questions might seem opposite from one another, what they have in relation is the functional needs, and how they differ between people. Some people would desire to be in a relationship, and some are actually in one, but their needs are different. And partner people, they might have different perspectives on what principles, and needs that they think are important in relationship, and that must be met in order for them to be happy. The relationship dialects theory stresses the importance of, understanding dialectic tension in a relationship and having that open conversation type of mood with your partner, all while meeting your personal needs and privacy standards. This theory intrigued me because I recently have gotten out of a relationship where, my needs were not being met and my partner's needs were also not being met. And after reading it and understanding, what things I should have been looking for and what needs that I have that weren't being met that are actually way more important than I thought they were, they all kind of just made sense as to why the relationship didn't work out. So that was my personal connection with this theory, and it just made me more aware what to look forward to in future relationships and what needs that I realized are important to me. I need to keep those, prevalent in the back of my mind before I enter another relationship, because ultimately those have to come first for me. Throughout my presentation today, I'm going to kind of break down the theory and explain the research that was found and the theorist who actually founded it, and then I will list the concepts, to apply in a relationship and how to understand them a little bit. And lastly, I will be explaining the personal benefits that I have gained from reading and becoming educated on this theory. So now you guys might be wondering, who actually broke this theory down and was able to narrow it down to, specific principles on what you need to look for in a relationship in order to tell if it will be successful or a failure? Baxter and Montgomery were the two theorists who did this in 1996. As Cornelia states on page 168, a healthy relationship is one in which the parties manage to satisfy both oppositional demands. These theorists broke this statement down and kind of explained it in further detail. Cornelia also said on page 168 that contradictions are central to personal relationships. Tensions lead to ongoing changes. We affect and are affected by these changes in our relationships, and thus we must look at relationships as a whole or in totality to observe contradictions. Contradictions occur because there are independent needs that in relationships, partners, they need to be met for the partners in order for them to be happy. And if not, it can result in tension. Tension is the relationship, between partners that can change how they look at each other, and it actually can lead to something that is referred to as a spiral, meaning when the needs are not met, new needs are it's a spiral. They're spiraling out of control. New needs are coming in. If the needs are already met, new needs will be coming in. Both partners in the relationship, they're affected, and otherwise this is known as a praxis within the theory. In a functioning relationship, both partners must observe it as a whole and kind of just break it down and study its internal and external contradictions from a outside standpoint and from an inside standpoint. An example of some dialectic change that could occur or has occurred in someone's relationship would be deciding whether you want to move away to attend college or staying home for your partner. This is an example because both partners will have extended amounts of needs and wants from one another, and this can create tension that either will make the relationship last through that long distance and make them healthier and stronger, or end it entirely based on if distance is something one of those two partners rely on. If that's important to them, I need my boyfriend to be within a 10-mile radius, then if not, that's something a standard that should not be ignored in a relationship, because if it's ignored, tension will occur and ultimately the relationship is going to end. Maybe not from that reason, but it could be a related reason. Now I'm going to dive into the needs that are studied in this theory and the internal and external contradictions in relationships that were also listed and researched. Baxter and Montgomery explained the external and internal sides for each contradiction, and they were able to narrow it down from 6 terms, and they kind of just categorized them into 3 main genres. The first being stability and change. The external side of stability and change is, stability is boring. It's boring. It's the extra. It's boring. You're boring. You're in the same location with your boyfriend. You're doing the same activities over and over again. It becomes boring. And change. Partners seek new adventures while enjoying the calmness of consistency. So some partners might want to, move and grow and adapt to new things, and the other partner might be comfortable with not doing that. The next genre is openness and closeness. So openness could fall under the external side, which is, partners want privacy, but they seek advice from others in relationships. So the closeness side would be the internal, which could be partners seek to know more about each other, but they still want to remain private and keep certain aspects of themselves hidden. The third genre is closeness and independence. Closeness would be the example of the external, only because wanting to change locations with your partner but enjoy living close to your loved ones. That reality of living within a certain distance or radius to somebody, like I mentioned earlier, might be more important to somebody than it is the other partner. And the independence could fall under the internal, because partners might want to stay close in distance, but would move under important circumstances, such as an opportunity given in job or at work or a family, moving type of ordeal. Lastly, I will be applying this theory in first person point of view through my lens and kind of explain my relationship using these principles. Stability and change. Okay, so first off, stability. My partner was comfortable with being stable in this area of Youngstown. I'm not from the area, but my partner was comfortable with being stable and comfortable with where we were, while in opposition, I was not okay with that. I wanted change. I needed change, and he needed stability. We clashed. The next would be openness and closedness. Openness is, I'm a very open person, and I like to talk about emotions. I think it's very important. And if something's bothering you or something internally that you need help with dealing, I'm the type of person to sit you down and let's talk about it. My partner was not. He was a closed off type of person, which is just how he was raised. It wasn't his fault. And that's where we clashed. I need a partner who I can sit down and talk about my day in full detail and get your personal view on, what do you think I should do? I need advice and really trust it. And for him, that wasn't something he strived for in a relationship, was to sit down and talk about problems. That wasn't up there on his, list of things in a relationship that he looks forward to and values. And closeness and independence, he grew up in Youngstown, this area. This is something that he didn't want to move away from, and I don't blame him. And I moved around from Cleveland, from Vegas to Texas, so I'm all about being independent and traveling, and I was raised by a single mother, so independence is something I live for, and I follow every day of my life, no matter what I'm doing, because you never know what could happen to the people around you. They could leave, they could hurt you, you never know. So that was something that we kind of just bashed heads on, was he liked being close to the area because of his family and loved ones, and I had no ties here because I'm not from here. So my independence kind of just, that was a need for me. So now hopefully you guys kind of get a value and a little grip on the first two questions that I asked you at the beginning of my presentation. Majority of the answers for both of those questions were answered yes, because everyone has either had some affiliation with somebody they wanted to pursue something further with at some point in their life, or is currently in a serious relationship. Understanding this theory and actually applying it to your own and your future relationships will save you, one, so much time, and two, actually help you find yourself and kind of see what side and what things that you value and that you should pay attention to before entering any relationship. The relationship dialects theory, it focuses primarily on the internal conflicting needs that must be stressed in a relationship in order for it to be healthy and long-lasting. I highly advise remembering, these ideas and all of these topics, and just really see if they apply to you, and if you and your partner bash heads on any of them. And it's just going to help you overall find your soulmate way quicker and eliminate all the pointless dates and pointless relationships that are just there to teach you, but you already know if you follow the steps. So to kind of just reiterate, I first explained the theory's main ideas and who they were researched by, which was Baxter and Montgomery. I listed the theories and applied the concepts and explained kind of why it's so crucial to understand the true function of this theory. And lastly, I applied it to my previous relationship and explained my realization in the areas that we lacked within my relationship. So hopefully after hearing the theories, concepts, and how they saved me from, being in a relationship that didn't meet my needs, I hope that every audience member chooses to apply this relationship dialects theory in their future relationships or in their current. By being aware of what areas are lacked, you're aware and you're saving yourself time from investing in the wrong person. So take a step back, study your current or previous relationship, and ask yourself, what needs do you have that are not arguable? They have to be met in order for you to be happy. Thank you guys for watching.